Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to, before I go to sleep, I just wanted to do a video about this Malika Andrews situation and how she has responded to Ime Udoka's. And this is the last video I'm going to do about this shit, and I'm going to move on or whatever the case may be. But I'm going to go back to the series. But um, I just wanted to do a video and show y'all how fucked up feminism really is, ladies and gentlemen, and tell you why. So here's the clip with the back and forth with her and Stephen A. Smith. And I'll be back.
With all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do not have all of the information here. And it was frustrating to me that the Celtics declined to elaborate or to give more specifics about what exactly the rule breaking was that led us to this point. So that, I just want to get that out of the way first. But to answer your question, Molly, I think what stood out to me, I think what stood out to me is that Brad Stevens, he was upset. That's what stood out to me about what he termed rampant Twitter BS is the word that he used, that women were unfairly dragged into this within the Celtics organization. You could see that Brad Stevens was visibly upset about this, and I also found that to be gross and unnecessary, that folks were bringing in the names and the images of women that is just not a fact. It was purely speculation. And so to me, that is what stood out. But the Celtics as an organization could have done more, and short of doing more ahead of this yesterday, they could have owned that responsibility in this press conference. I understand that there were legal parameters that they had to operate within for everybody involved, and I appreciate the fact that they brought in outside counsel and did a thorough organization. And I think that that is something that was clearly necessary in this situation. But the fact that it was able to go on all day, the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
First of all, let me be very clear. I don't appreciate where you're going with that. I'm not blaming anybody but Ime Udoka. He deserves, the fact of the matter is, I've said he deserved to be fired if they were going to fire him. If you're not going to fire him, then don't fire him. My issue is all of this being publicized. The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning, excuse me, I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I've already said he deserves to be fired, or he deserves to be there and handle it internally and privately. If you're not going to handle it privately, if you're going to publicize it in that fashion, then obviously it provokes everybody wanting to know, okay, well, who are the parties involved? When you have Amina Smith in Boston and other women pointing out the fact that there were women who were wrongly implicated in all of this, it's a disservice to them. I didn't come out with the report about a consensual relationship. I didn't come out with the report ahead of time leaking that they were going to suspend him for the year. They did that. And my point is, considering how pervasive this kind of stuff has existed in professional sports for many years.
And now here's the clip with Malika Andrews and Kendrick Perkins.
Comments on this, and let me explain why. Not the fact that he was taking up and protecting the women in the organization, but you know, he said about the speculations and the Twitter BS and things to that nature, and how unfair it was to the women in the organization that is not involved with this particular situation. And I get that, right? But why is it speculations? It's speculations because of the reports that were put out by the actual Boston Celtics. So they didn't do a great job from the jump of actually protecting the women in their organization because knowing that they were going to sit up here and give out this information and go out here and suspend Ime Udoka and talk about, just give a little details, it's going to have people speculating. And in my eyes, I feel like the Boston Celtics dropped the ball not only in protecting their entire franchise, but in protecting the women as well. They should have made sure that they crossed their T's and dotted their I's before they put this information out. And I get it. Now we're to this point, and now he had to go on here and he had to say this and he had to say that to protect those innocent women. But at the end of the day, man, it just ain't right how they went about it. The word accountability, okay? Accountability doesn't just go to Ime Udoka, okay? Accountability goes to the other people that played a part in that as well. Let me tell you another thing I didn't like about my good friend Wick Grossbeck and Brad Stevens in this press conference when they asked, is anybody else going to be punished? And they said no. And my whole thing is this, right? These are some of the facts that have been out. These are some facts that I know that, you know, this relationship, one of these relationships that was had with Ime Udoka and one of these women, it was consensual, meaning that this woman actually played a part in it too. So my thing is, yes, Ime Udoka was wrong. We get that. His punishment, he deserved that, and whatever else follows, I hate it for him, but he put himself in this position. But why are the other people getting left off the hook?
Well,
that's the problem that I have right now. Everybody got to be held accountable.
I think that we need to circle back to what Shanae said, is that there was an investigation that was conducted by an independent law firm here, and I think that transparency is what will rule the day here. And so without having all of the information, it is unfair and irresponsible of us to go and to speculate on that, because what we have to...
Well, I'm not speculating. Sure. I have the information. I'm not speculating.
But what we have to go with here is the fact that an independent law firm came in, did this investigation, and the facts that they were presented, they came to the conclusion that Ime Udoka violated a policy that warranted a one-year suspension, and I share your frustration with the lack of transparency while understanding that there is some things that they need to, from a legal perspective, keep private. But knowing all of that, understanding all of that, we have to come to the conclusion that whatever rule, the conduct that was broken on one side, it is not the same on the other side. I thank you for your perspective.
First, she calls out Stephen A.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is why men get frustrated with feminism. We get frustrated with feminism because it's like feminists have the inability to separate two different actions. All right? Two different situations. They have the inability to do so. So they have so much tunnel vision that they only going to see things one way, all right? In other words, if we were talking about a rape or sexual harassment, someone being violated, that's one thing. But the key word is consensual, ladies and gentlemen. The key word is consensual. So the problem that we have is as she stated, so you know, she stated that they're not being transparent. So you only can go one of two ways with this and it be handled correctly. You can either be private and not let any of it get out, or you can be fully transparent about it, meaning the identity of the other person and that other person's story has to be told. Otherwise, it's handled completely wrong. So the problem that we have is not the fact that Ime is being punished. All right? That word consensual, which is how it's been reported this entire time, is the word of value. Why? Because that means no one was forced to do whatever they did. All right? So now people are starting to salt and pepper it, saying that Ime was obsessed with the woman or whatever the case may be, but that doesn't make sense. You know why? Because that is harassment, which makes it an association problem. It goes against the personal code of conduct. So the NBA would have to get involved. But remember, they said the Boston Celtics did this independently. So all of that shit that they might throw out there now, get rid of that shit. Which is why I don't understand why Matt Barnes walked this shit back. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, no one is saying that Ime Udoka should not be punished. But when you say consensual and we're talking about two employees, why is only one person being punished when they both consented to doing the same thing? There's this notion, there's this saying, the hands of one is the hands of all. Alright? So maybe the punishment shouldn't have been as severe, but there should have been some sort of punishment. And when these feminists, especially as a black man, we're constantly hearing, I feel unprotected. Black men don't love us. Black men choose everything over us, and this, that, and the third. And I think that shit is hypocritical because you can see it right here on these two clips, ladies and gentlemen. You can see where you don't even need to know the likeness or the person's story. As long as she's a woman, you're going to take her side. All right? You're going to say she doesn't deserve no culpability to what it is that she contributed to this situation. There should be no punishment or whatever the case may be. And you're willing to sacrifice the lives and the fucking well-being of the mental well-being of all of these other women who are completely innocent of this situation, whose names and likeness have been put on Twitter, and all of that stuff is okay. All right? Now, if it was handled in private and they just decided to suspend Udoka and say something like he decided to take some time away from the team, or whatever the case may be, and it was handled completely privately, we don't deal with none of this. We could speculate till the cows come home. But as long as people keep their fucking mouth shut, nobody would know what the fuck happened. Next year, whatever happens, it happens, whether they bring them back or whatever the case. But the fact of the matter is, the Boston Celtics violated the privacy of one party. So we're only getting a partial story. All right? And they're still trying to hold on to the privacy of the other party that is involved. So we're only allowed to deal with what we're given. Now, the majority of us who are talking are saying that this situation was handled improperly. And it was. All right? At the end of the day, protection for a victim, someone who has been violated, that's understandable. Protecting their privacy and giving them the benefit of the doubt when they come out, just based off of protection, just giving them the benefit of the doubt, is reserved for a victim. Consensual kills that right, ladies and gentlemen, and especially when you let part of the story and one person who was involved, and then you have the balls to come out and say that this person is not even going to have any repercussions. And then you have this black woman who covers black men daily going up there and willing, like I said, with no story, no face, no nothing, you're willing to throw a black man under the bus and then say, I feel unprotected by you. Show off.